Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Adling from AB126 Group C, and my metrics number is 2022 800 807 836. And today we will presenting the production of concrete. So I will explain the introduction for the concrete technology. Concrete is a hardened building material created by combining a chemically inert mineral, a binder, means the cement itself, a chemical inactive in water. There's a few different types of concrete categories according to the method of installation. Ready for the pre-mix, concrete is hatched and mixed at the central plant before it is delivered to the site. This type of concrete uh, is sometimes transported into the aggregator truck, also known as transmit mixed concrete. String mixed concrete is particularly used at the central plant, and its mixing is then completed when it is on the road to the site. I will pass this to the next person who will explain next point.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Binti Harry. I'm from AP126 1C. My metric ID is 2022871238. And in the production of concrete, there is manufacturer process of concrete involved. I'm gonna explore about the manufacturer process of concrete. The manufacturer process involves 6 steps in it, which are batching, mixing, transporting, placing, completing, and curing. By following the step, a properly portioned and complete mixed concrete will produce. Each step has its own significance on the contribution of different properties in the finished product. For the batching concrete, it was the measurement of the material for matching concrete, upon depending upon the volume. Volume of the cement, sand, and coarse aggregate are determined respectively. There is two types of batching concrete method that widely adopted throughout the construction industry. The first one is the volume batching. For the volume, we will use a measurement boxes of dot boxes of no volume to measure material which is equal to the volume of one bag of cement. The cup box is deeper and contain narrow top surface, and also it was made of timber or steel or iron. Volume of different size fine aggregate and coarse aggregate are measured individually by this cup box. And the water is measured with water can of no of volume. And the second type is wetting batching. The material are measured on the basis weight. Wet batcher or other type of wetting equipment are used to measure weight of materials. And there is mechanical wet batcher and electronic wet batcher. For the mechanical wet batcher, weight are measured using spring and dial gauge arrangement and is widely used equipment in wet batching. And for the electronic wet batcher, electronic scale and dot cell supported by hopper are used to measure the weight of ingredient of concrete. It can be manual or semi-automatic or fully automatic. The process is mixing concrete. It's either done by hand or machine. It should be done thoroughly so that the ingredients are uniformly distributed. It can be judged by the uniform color and the consistency of concrete. There is two types of mixing concrete we can follow. The first one is hand mixing. The concrete may be mixed by hand or using a mixer that is manually operated. It needs to be done on a hard, clean, dirt-free, and watertight base platform. And the second type is machine mixing. There is two types of mixer, which is continuous mixer and batch mixer. And the third process of concrete is transporting concrete. Transporting concrete from the mixing site to the placing site. It could be handled and transported in various methods. concrete is placing concrete. The concrete must be placed with utmost care, securing the homogeneity of concrete during the mixing and the avoidance of segregation in transporting. The placing can be done on different types depending upon the method used. It lastly involves the formwork piecing operation. So before placing concrete to the required place, all the loose earth, root of tree, and others need to be removed. The formwork must be examined for correct alignment following the drawing approved. It needs to be able to withstand the weight of concrete and contraction not with colored life or deadlock. The formwork must be cleaned and oiled before use to avoid any sticking of concrete with the foam and making the shaping good. Concrete should not be dropped but placed in position to prevent segregation. The concrete placed at one point in the formwork and allowed to flow sideways to take care of honeycombing, and the reinforcement should be checked for tightness and clean surface. Process is compacting concrete. It was a method of eliminating air void on the surface of concrete. The reduction of the strength of concrete as well as other different parts is compacting is not involved. There is different type of method for compaction. The first one is hand compaction. It's done by a steel tamping rod and equally distributing the straw as per the number specification. And the second one is vibration. Is using electrically or mechanically operated tools. And for the last process is curing concrete. This process involved due to the hydration of cement. A large amount of heat develop on the concrete surface as well as the water quantity get reduced. This process is to maintain sufficient temperature as well as providing liquid moisturize to the concrete. This process of making the concrete warm and moist enough so the hydration of cement can continue. There is method of curing concrete. The first one is water curing. It needs application of water on the surface of the concrete. It should be done by spraying or sprinkling water or curing agent over the concrete surface. The method of water curing is ponding, sprinkling, fogging, and mist curing and wet covering. The second method is membrane curing. This curing is to lessen moisturized loss from the concrete surface by wrapping it with an impermeable membrane. Wax, acrylic, and water-based liquid spread over fresh concrete to create an impermeable membrane. The method for membrane curing is plastic sheeting and formwork. The next method is steam curing. This curing is to keep the surface moist and raise the temperature of concrete to quicken the rate of stress achievement. It was to speed up the early hardening of concrete and mortar by subjecting it to steam and humidity. Is most commonly used for precast concrete blocks.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Syed Aristana Bapak Samsudin, number metric 2022 at 45 and I'm from class AP126 1C. Now, I will explain about fresh concrete. Definition of fresh concrete. Fresh concrete is a delicate white concrete with subtle warm gray texture. But like all calcitone slab, fresh concrete doesn't require sealing. The only case is that it needs more cleaning because of its matte finish, which tend to show marks and stick quite easily. Fresh concrete can be easily molded to a durable structural member. It can be prepared on the spot and may give a wide range of properties from easily available raw materials. Fresh concrete have six properties. They are workability, temperature, water cement ratio, segregation, bleeding, and setting time. Now,
Now, I will explain the first properties of fresh concrete. It is workability. Workability desirable that freshly mixed concrete be relatively easy to transport, place, compact and finish without harmful segregation. A concrete mix satisfying this condition is said to be workable. Workability is the most important property of freshly mixed concrete. There is no single test method that can simultaneously measure all the properties involved in workability. It is determined to be large extent by measuring the consistency of the mix. There are factors affecting workability. They are method and duration of transportation, quantity and characteristics of cementing materials, aggregate grading, shape and surface texture, quantity and characteristic of chemical admixture, amount of water, amount of entrant air, concrete and ambient air temperature. I will explain the second properties of pressed concrete. It is temperature. Concrete is not recommended to be placed at a temperature above 40 Celsius without proper precautions. Special problems are encountered in the preparation, placement, and curing of concrete in hot weather. The first 24 to 72 hours after placing fresh concrete are of extreme importance. In this period, hydration of concrete occurs, which is a chemical process in which concrete gains its strength. If the temperature of concrete is not controlled and it goes beyond maximum range during hydration, then stresses are produced and cracks are formed in concrete. Also, if the temperature falls below the minimum temperature, then concrete takes a large time to set, and the hydration process slows down. It is necessary to understand here that concrete can be done at any temperature unless the temperature is controlled. The third properties of fresh concrete is water-cement ratio. It is the ratio of cement and water utilized in the preparation of concrete. The quantity of water used at mixing concrete is very important. If the percentage of water used is less, then there will not be a sufficient quantity of water to hydrate cement. It will result in weak and porous concrete. Therefore, the usual tendency is to use too much water that gives a more workable mix, but it doesn't give sound concrete. Too much water results in the segregation of aggregates and give porous concrete of low and low density. A certain minimum proportion of water is necessary to hydrate the cement completely. To create the concrete sufficiently workable to be placed in position, some more water is needed. So long as the concrete is sufficiently workable for the way of placing use, its strength depends on the proportion of water to the cement in the mix.
Doing the explanation for fresh concrete. The fourth one, segregation. Segregation refers to a separation of the component of fresh concrete, resulting in a non-uniform mix. The primary causes of segregation are difference in specific gravity and size of constituents of concrete. Moreover, improper mixing, improper placing, and improper consolidation also lead to segregation, usually caused by excessive vibration of cement. The different materials that make up the concrete made up the concrete mix have different weight. So while the concrete is in a liquid state, there is a tendency for the heavier materials to settle to the bottom and the lighter slurry to rise to the top. Type of segregation uh, cause aggregation separating out at setting time. Phase separation away from the cause aggregate, water separating out from the rest of the material making material offload with specific gravity. Factors affecting segregation. Larger maximum particle size means 25 millimeter the size and proportion of the larger particles. High specific gravity of coarse aggregate decrease in the amount of fine particles, particle shape and texture, and the last one into water cement ratio. And how to avoid segregation. Segregation not too wet, not too dry. Properly mix with the concrete. Place concrete as soon as possible. When transporting concrete, load carefully. Placing concrete straight from the stroke. Walk vertically and never let concrete fall more than 1.5 meter. Always pour new concrete into the face of concrete already in place. Use poker vibrator carefully. Fifth, bleeding. What is bleeding actually? Bleeding as a concrete is sometimes referred to as water gain. This is a special form of separation in which some water from the concrete flows to the surface of the concrete, with the lowest specific gravity among all concrete components. Excessive bleeding is seen in thin members, in slabs or road slabs, and when the concrete is placed in sunny weather. It is caused by the inability of solid constituents of the mix to hold all of the mixing water as they settle down. Effect of the bleeding, which the movement of the water towards the top. The top portion becomes weak and porous, so the resistance of concrete of freezing thawing decreases. Water rising to the surface carry fine particles of cement which weaken to the top portion and form lightens. This portion is not resistant of abrasion. Water may accumulate under the cause and aggregate and reinforcement. These large voids under the particles may lead to the weak zones and reduce the bond between base and egg or base and reinforcement. How to prevent the bleeding in concrete? Bleeding can be reduced with appropriate proportions and uniform, also complete mixing. Bleeding is reduced by the use of finely divided pozzolanic materials, making a long way to cross the water. The air penetrating agent is very effective for reducing blood. Bleeding can be reduced by the use of fine cement or cement with low alkali content. Setting times. When concrete changes in states from fresh to hardened, setting of concrete related to settle of cement. Setting time depends on the type of cement and can be increased by or decreased by adding admixture in concrete. Factors of settle time. Factors mostly water cement ratio, suitable temperature, cement content, type of cement, and lastly, fitness of cement.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Anwar Hakim Idris. I'm from AP143. My metric number is 2022 sequence 0212. For my part, I will explain about the hardened concrete. The hardened concrete, I will explain two properties of hardened concrete, which is strength and shrinkage. For the strength, what is the strength of concrete? The strength can be defined as the ability to resist force. With regard to concrete for the structural purpose, it can be defined as a unit force referred to the core structure. Structure is a good index for most other properties of the particular importance. Stronger concrete are stiffer, more watertight, and more resistant to weathering. Of the above mentioned hardened properties, compressive strength is one of the most important property that often recommend uh, because concrete is used for compressive loads. Compressive strength is easily obtained, and it is a good measure of all the other properties. Strength of concrete. Ability to concrete to carry apply compression load. The strength of concrete cement, prepared crew and test under specified conduction at a given edge depends on water cement ratio and degree of convection. About shrinkage concrete. What is shrinkage of concrete? Have you seen wet clay soil where the water evaporates quickly and then makes the soil surface look like picture number one? Like in the clay soil, concrete also changes in volume after evaporation of water and makes crack. The process of volumetric change in concrete due to the evaporation of water content is known as the shrinkage of concrete. The shrinkage cracks start to appear on the surface due to the moisture evaporation without any external load. Types of concrete shrinkage.
The shrinkage can be classified on the following. We have four types of concrete shrinkage. Number one is plastic shrinkage. Number two, dry shrinkage. Number three, carbonation shrinkage. And last one is autogenous shrinkage. Plastic shrinkage. Plastic shrinkage is a contraction in a volume due to a water movement from the concrete while still in the plastic state or before it's set. The movement of water can be during the hydration process or from the environmental condition leading to the evaporation of water that resides on the surface on the wet concrete. So the more the concrete bleeds, the greater the plastic shrinkage should be. Plastic shrinkage is proportional to cement content and therefore inversely proportional to the water cement ratio. Number two is drying shrinkage. Drying shrinkage is the consequence of loss of the moisture from hardened concrete to the environment. Due to the emptying of the fine pores in the concrete, negative capillary pressure develops which causes a volume reduction of the concrete. If the concrete shrinkage is restrained, tensile stress develops in the concrete. Restrained restrained shrinkage when the tensile stress becomes higher than the tensile strength of concrete cracks and generated.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nurul Dania Pradika binti Sadat. I am from AP1261C. My metric number is 2022621204. Today I want to explain more about the shrinkage concrete. One of the shrinkage concrete is carbonation. Shrinkage occurs due to the reaction of carbon dioxide with the hydrated cement minerals carbonating CaOH2 to CaCO3. After that, it probably caused by the dissolution of crystal of calcium hydroxide and deposition of calcium carbonate in its place. As the new product is less in volume than the product replaced, shrinkage takes place. Type of shrinkage concrete is autogenous shrinkage. It is changed in volume due to the chemical process of hydration of cement, exclusive of effects of applied load and change in either thermal condition or moisture content. It is also caused by the reduction in volume when cement hydrates and new products are formed. The volume of the hydrated products occupies less volume when compared with the volume of unhydrated cement and water. Last but not least, I'm gonna explain about the conclusion about the production of concrete. In conclusion, to sum up, it's a fact that all ingredients in concrete are very important. It is because if aggregate was not there, the concrete would not have structure. Without the proper mixture of cement and water, the aggregate would not be held together. If there is more cement and water, the aggregate is held together very well and it makes the concrete significantly stronger. It is also important because there is more cement and water in total than the aggregate, because if even a little of the aggregate is not held together, it could cause the concrete to not be as strong. This is important when building buildings, highways, or anything else. If there is a crack in concrete, the whole structure could fall. And last, this is the reference. This is our reference to get some information about the production of concrete. Okay, that's all from us. Thank you.